Emily boarded the night bus, heading back from her vacation in the big city. The sky was dark, and the countryside road was enveloped in thick darkness. The bus was traveling through rural areas surrounded by dense forests, adding an eerie feeling to the journey. Inside, the only light came from a single lamp casting shadows across the weary faces of the passengers. Emily gazed out the window, lost in thoughts of solitude and exhaustion. Suddenly, the bus jolted violently. Emily's heart raced as she lifted her head and glanced around. Several passengers stirred awake, but the driver continued driving calmly. Emily's pulse quickened. She noticed something moving outside, but the darkness made it hard to see clearly. She tried to look again, but the shadows seemed to have vanished. After a while, the bus jolted again, and this time a scream pierced the night. Emily's heart nearly leapt out of her chest. Passengers looked around in panic. The driver pulled the bus over and told everyone to stay put. The tension inside the bus was palpable. Then a strange noise began to emanate from the bus door. Emily's gaze shifted to the dim light outside, and she saw a dark figure slowly approaching. The figure was cloaked in shadows, and Emily couldn't make out any distinct features. Her fear grew, and she turned away, her anxiety mounting. Then a strange noise began to emanate from the bus door. Emily's gaze shifted to the dim light outside, and she saw a dark figure slowly approaching. The figure was cloaked in shadows, and Emily couldn't make out any distinct features. Her fear grew, and she turned away, her anxiety mounting. The night was filled with unsettling sounds as the bus accelerated, taking sharp turns. Every noise and movement seemed to amplify the passengers' anxiety. Emily stared nervously out the window, dreading the return of the dark figure. The bus journey seemed endless as every bump and sound heightened her terror. Finally, after what felt like hours, the bus approached a small town. The lights of the town were a welcome sight as the bus slowed down. Passengers disembarked, breathing sighs of relief. Emily hurriedly walked towards her home, eager to escape the night's horrors. Once she arrived home, Emily tried to put the terrifying night behind her. However, every night she lay in bed, she couldn't shake the memory of those hollow eyes and the dark figure. She kept her windows tightly shut and listened intently to every sound, haunted by the fear of encountering the figure again. That night had left an indelible mark on her life, casting a shadow over her peaceful nights. Emily boarded the night bus, heading back from her vacation in the city. The sky was a deep, impenetrable black, and the countryside road was surrounded by thick, whispering forests. The bus, a long, creaking vehicle, rumbled along the isolated road. Inside, the dim light of a single overhead lamp barely illuminated the faces of the weary passengers. Emily, feeling the weight of exhaustion, gazed out the window, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Without warning, the bus jolted violently, causing Emily to clutch the armrest. Her heart pounded as she glanced around at the startled passengers. The driver's door slowly opened, continuing to drive shrouded in darkness. Emily noticed the shadows moving outside, but they were too indistinct to make out an unsettling. She tried to otherworldly light, but the darkness was oppressive, ragged, and the shapes fleeting that seemed to blend with the night later, itself. The bus shuddered. Emily's breath caught in her throat as the figure stepped into the bus. The sound it was so slowly and deliberately that it seemed scanning the road's passengers. Panic erupted among the passengers. Focus. Some screamed, others clutched their belongings, and the atmosphere became charged with fear. The driver pulled the bus to the side of the road and instructed everyone to remain seated. The tension inside was palpable, and the only sound was the heavy breathing of the frightened passengers. The door of the bus creaked ominously, and a cold draft blew through. Emily's eyes darted to the dark window, where she saw a shadowy figure moving towards the bus. It was difficult to discern details, but the figure seemed to glide effortlessly through the darkness. The driver, his face pale with terror, quickly slammed the door shut and restarted the engine. The bus lurched forward, and the figure disappeared into the darkness outside. The vehicle picked up speed, the engine roaring as if trying to outrun the fear that had taken hold of its occupants. The remainder of the journey was a harrowing ordeal. The bus swayed violently as it navigated sharp turns and uneven road surfaces. Every bump and jolt seemed magnified, and the creaking of the bus's old frame added to the growing sense of dread. Passengers whispered anxiously among themselves, exchanging fearful glances. Emily, her nerves frayed, couldn't shake the image of the glowing eyes from her mind. As the bus continued its relentless journey, the darkness outside seemed to close in. The occasional flash of moonlight revealed twisted, gnarled trees that appeared to reach out like skeletal hands. Emily could barely make out the silhouettes of the trees, their forms shifting and merging with the shadows. The feeling of being pursued by something unseen was overwhelming. Hours passed, and the bus finally approached a small town. The first signs of civilization, a scattering of lights, emerged from the darkness. Relief swept through the bus as it slowed to a stop. Passengers hurriedly disembarked, their faces reflecting the collective anxiety of the night. Emily stepped off the bus, her legs trembling, and made her way quickly to her home.